Good morning, beloveds. I think the cat may know the weather's changing because he's in here stretched out on the heating pad already. And it's still in this, I don't know if it's in the 60s or in the 70s. But it is Veterans Day. So I want to say thank you for your service to all of the veterans. My husband is a veteran. He served during the original Desert Storm. And my father is also a veteran. I was literally born in a military hospital because my father was in boot camp when I was born. So it's always interesting. I think I made a reference recently, and I don't know who to, about the fact that, some people never leave the town that they grew up, that they were born in. And I don't remember the town I was born in because 3 months after I was born, we left because my dad was in boot camp. Because I was born in Keesler Air Base. So, yep. A few years ago, my mom went there for some reason or another and brought me back a sweatshirt. So, all right, it is November 11th. Our title is Your Heart's Desire. Our first quote is, "They revealeth the deep and secret things, they knoweth what is in the darkness." And that is Daniel 2:22. As the sugar cat. As the truth dawns upon the subjective state of our thought, it stimulates it into newness of action. And that is The Science of Mind, page 484. What is the fulfillment of your heart's desire worth to you? How much would you pay or sacrifice for it? Actually, the fulfillment of it costs you nothing except time and effort. In your consciousness resides the knowledge of your divine birthright to health, happiness, prosperity, and to the fulfillment of your heart's desire. But all this good may not be able to unfold because of the debris in your subconscious mind covering it. And sometimes the heaviest kind of debris are hate and the lack of forgiveness. They prevent us from living the life we desire, causing depression and a host of other maladies. All people have something or someone to forgive. If you are protesting, you may not be aware of what is hidden in your subconscious mind. And unless you become aware of any destructive emotions residing there, you cannot deal with them and eliminate them. To bring that which is hidden in the subconscious to the surface, prepare a list of persons who have had any significance in your life. Think sequentially about each individual. While doing so, observe any feelings which surface. In this way, you will discover what your hidden negative emotions are. This effort is part of your spiritual work and growth. It is heeding the wisdom of seek ye first the kingdom of God, and these things shall be added unto you. Today, I search for and become aware of and deal with those sides of my subconscious mind which block my fulfillment. As a result, my heart's desire, already established in the invisible, now objectifies and unfolds in my life. And that is R.H. R.H. Robert Haake? Haake? Okay. So clearly you already have a mission for today. And honestly, what that sounds a lot like is one of the AA steps, making amends. Except in that case, you are looking for people that you've hurt. So, but that's kind of the point. If you have anything lingering in your subconscious, which would be, he used the word negative, and I'm just going to say non-preferred. emotion, because sometimes what we might call a negative emotion is actually not negative if used correctly. I will give you anger as an example. Anger can definitely eat you alive from the inside out if it is misplaced. But there is this thing called righteous anger, because what your anger can tell you where you know you're not being treated right. So, there's a lot of that. And that's an interesting idea to list out people who are significant in your life and think about them and see if you have any underlying emotion. Because for a long time I did, with my grandparents, my father's parents. I had a difficult relationship with them. Now, both of them have left the planet, and I have done a whole lot of work, beyond that, because I could see the way that they treated the younger grandchildren versus the way they treated me. And I heard the stories, and my grandmother in particular, who did not want to be grandma, she thought she was too young to be grandma, hence we called her Mimi. She did, and I was told she resented the fact that I made her a grandmother, and that hurt for a really long time, and I was really angry about it. And then it occurred to me, well, you know what? It's not my fault. Why am I angry about this when, it's not my fault? And that's one of the things that children growing up have to deal with. It's like when your parents, I felt guilty for a long time about my parents getting married because they were so awful together. It's not my fault. I was an innocent bystander in this situation. My very existence did not create this situation, and yet it did. My very existence in both cases did create. Yes, she was a grandmother. And yes, my parents did get married, but it wasn't my fault. I bear no responsibility to that. And so that's one of the things. It's like I had all that negative emotion around those two situations. And I had to grow to a place to realize, yes, my existence did create both of those situations, but I bear no responsibility for that. And when I did, when I got to that point, and I could take that deep breath and go, wait a minute. This is not my responsibility. These are grown adults who have made their own choices, and so that's what, and so I was able to let go of, and, I was able to forgive my parents for what it was that, and then I was able to forgive my grandmother, Mimi. I'm sure she would still not be okay with being your grandmother. I was able to forgive her for the difficulties in our relationship. And I was able to forgive myself, going, wait a minute, you're a child. You bear no responsibility for this. And so those are the kind of things. And it doesn't just have to be, I just gave you two very clear examples of people that I have had significant relationships with, that there was pain involved in those relationships. And it took me coming up to going, wait a minute. So, and then I leaned back onto the Maya Angelou quote. We did the best we could until we knew better, and then we did better. And that's where, that's where those relationships ended up. That's where those relationships ended up. All of us grew, all of us knew better, and then thus all of us did better. But yeah, both my grandparents, I can't say it was my grandfather. It was definitely my grandmother that I had. I had an interesting relationship her entire life with her. And I learned a lot from her. So, therein, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this woman who was in my life. And grateful for the lessons that I learned from her. And I hope I hope and know in her next evolution, because as I said, she's left the planet, that she's happy. And I hope she's a whole lot happier than she ever was here. So, the life is what it is. And so when you have those, especially with those childhood lessons, we grow up with these childhood lessons and they become so subconscious because we were taught these things as children, and we never go back and reevaluate them and go, wait a minute, I was a child. And so that is, and inner child work is a real thing, and that's the kind of thing that it can bring up. But there's a whole lot of other, work that you can do. And I would also say that the other half of that equation is that if you do this exercise that Robert is suggesting, you will revisit some really amazing people in your life too. And I would suggest doing it. Yes, in my case with my grandparents, they're both gone. But it might bring up some memories of somebody that's still here that maybe you want to reconnect with. Because immediately I'm thinking of all of the memories I have of my Aunt Mary, and she's been gone for over a year now. And so it's been interesting for me to reconnect with her, even though she's gone. And then look at my family and go, you know what? I live kind of far away. There's got to be a better way. Maybe I need to go home more often. I don't know what that's about. So you have your mission today. I know he starts out talking about your heart's desire, but the mission really honestly is there's a whole lot of stuff that is buried in our subconscious that we are unaware of. And Robert gives us an excellent exercise of how we might dig some of that up so that we can look at some of that. Because we do have, what is it? Reverend Jesse's talked about it before. Because we never meet people for the first time. They always remind us of somebody else. It's like, and so by going back and doing this kind of exercise, you can clear some of that debris so that when you do meet people for the first time, and maybe they remind you of somebody that you have a subconscious negative association with, you've cleared the debris and you don't take it out on the new person. So, that it really is a phenomenal exercise to try. And I think that's why, and I'm sure that AA is not the only anonymous that does it, because there's a number of different kinds of anonymouses. I bet you that step is useful in all of them and probably useful in a lot of therapy. So try it, see how it works out for you. And then I would suggest, especially if you have those people in your life that you've had difficult relationships with, if you're ready and they're ready, reach out to them and see if you can't start that relationship in a fresh setting. Or you can let it lie, but you've cleared the debris. So, and then, definitely those good people, if you haven't said hi to them in a while, try that. So that's the mission today. Try this exercise, see what you get from it, and do not be afraid if it stirs up some really serious emotion to reach out to a professional. Reach out to a therapist, reach out to your prayer partner, reach out to, a practitioner or a minister. And then, if the practitioner or minister goes, yeah, that's a lot, maybe you should go see a therapist, please avail yourself of those services, because they can be very helpful, especially when you're going through the subconscious morass. All right. So that is the mission today. Should you choose to accept it, And the other one is the same one I give you every day, which is to make sure that you do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself, especially in the light of this kind of heavy emotional lifting. It's very important to make sure that you are practicing the self-care and being gentle with yourself. When you are revisiting people from your past that you may not have had the best relationship for, be loving, be kind, be compassionate with yourself and with your memories of them. So take breaks, if you have several heavy people in a row on your list, don't handle them all at once. Be gentle with yourself. Make sure that you take naps and take breaks and take walks and drink plenty of water. And again, I'm going to go back to maybe talk to your prayer partner or a professional. If you need an extra support, all of that is included in loving, kind, and compassion. You deserve your own love, your own kindness, and your own compassion. And your memories deserve that as well. So take care of yourself. The loving, kind, compassionate spiritual practice is absolutely, definitely about self-care. But I also want to remind you, it's about joy as well. So sometimes it looks like eating dessert first. Sometimes it looks like meeting friends for dinner. Sometimes it looks like reaching out to that person that you haven't talked to in a while and having an amazing conversation. So practice on yourself, create that habit, understand that you are connected to an inexhaustible source, an inexhaustible, infinite source of love, kindness, and compassion. Always, always. So consciously connect to that for yourself. And when you meet people that need a little extra. All right. So there's that. Then the rest of it will be to do something to engage your mind and your body, unless today is your day of rest. Having Friday as my day of rest is just really weird, but I'm learning. My life gets rearranged occasionally. Friday is now a day of rest. To drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. Your brain works better. And I know that we're about to hit this major cold front, notice the air quotes, and our temperature is about to drop like it saw a state trooper. Warm water is good too, so drink plenty of, just hydrate, whatever it takes, and then get that early in your day bright light. My day got to start a little bit earlier because, like I said, day of rest, but still bright light. Reset those circadian rhythms, get those hormones back on track. It's science. You can look it up. You'll have more energy during the day. You'll sleep better at night. And then take the words of Ernest Holmes, especially since I'm asking you to do some pretty serious, emotional work. Open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven right here, right now. Especially if we're dealing with people who are no longer with us in this emotional work. It is our superpower to remember that heaven is a state of mind. It is a state of consciousness. Therefore, we have the power to create it as a place. We create it for ourselves by recognizing the state of mind, by recognizing the consciousness, by recognizing that we have the ability to look around and see that it's all good and it's all God. And even when it's messy and juicy and chaotic, then we remember that we bring the good into the situation. All right. So as always, take Emma's advice and look for the good and praise it. Sometimes in certain situations, the good starts with us. The good starts with us. And when we bring the good into the situation, then we can start to make the situation good. All right. I know the world is messy. It's the material realm. But we always remember that we bring the good. We bring the good. It's always there. All right. Okay, so here's where I would do the social media part. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I am the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. If you want to know what's going on with the center, because there's always really interesting things going on, please email info@creativelife.org. Get on that constant contact. The hot links are hot. They will take you right to the information you want to know. And Jessie always has really great information in our in the newsletters. And the Wednesday book study is getting ready to start back up. So there'll be like 3 book studies going, and book studies you can drop in and out of as your schedule allows. Classes you have to commit to. Book studies, they give you a little more freedom. Okay. Yeah, now I get to tell you to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanting day, a Friday, a wonder-filled day, a get stuff done day, a get ready for the weekend day, a good day. And if that's too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God. You are a divine spark. You are I don't know what I was about to say there. Infinite pattern. An infinite pattern. You are God in action. You are spirit in motion. You are the beating heart of spirit, in whom God is well pleased and well represented. So, take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. Always. All right. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. This weekend is my weekend for fair, which means I'm going to be at fair both mornings. So I will do Saturday night. I will do Saturday, instead of being Saturday morning, it'll be Saturday night, and it will be the same thing with Sunday. My husband and I like to celebrate our anniversary. Yeah, it's only a month late, by going to the King's Feast at Fair, and we're going this weekend. So I will do both Saturday and Sunday. It won't be 9 a.m. It'll probably be closer to 9 p.m. But I will get them done. Which means I won't be at CLC on Sunday, but they already know that. We're prepared. Every now and again, a minister can take a day off. So, yeah. All right. I did ask you to do some heavy lifting today. Be kind with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. And don't try and do it all today. You've got time to do this kind of work. So, know that you're loved, and I will see you next time.